Welcome to a new special deep dive from the podcast AI Unraveled. This is created and produced by Etienne Neumann. He's a senior engineer and, fun fact, a passionate soccer dad from Canada.
That's right.
And hey, if you're finding these explorations into AI useful, please take just a second to like and subscribe to AI Unraveled wherever you get your podcasts, maybe on Apple. It genuinely helps us out a lot. Let's bring you more of this stuff.
It really does.
So today, we're diving into something pretty complex, the intersection of AI ethics and the metaverse. We're looking specifically at trust and transparency, how they're being built or maybe challenged in these virtual worlds.
Yeah, and for this deep dive, we've really looked at quite a range of sources. We've got articles, some research papers, various reports, all sort of exploring this AI and metaverse connection.
Okay, so our mission here really is to kind of pull out the most critical insights for you. We want to help you understand the key ethical challenges, maybe some emerging solutions, without getting totally overwhelmed by all the technical jargon.
Exactly, because AI is playing a bigger and bigger role, isn't it? You see it in intelligent avatars, content moderation, those recommendation systems.
Right. So focusing on the ethics side feels, well, necessary now more than ever. Oh, and speaking of expertise, if you're looking to deepen your own AI knowledge, maybe even get certified, you should definitely check out Etienne's study guides.
Ah, yes, the books.
Yeah, he's got the Azure AI Engineer Associate Study Guide, one for the Google Cloud Generative AI Leader Certification, and also the AWS Certified AI Practitioner Exam Study Guide. Really comprehensive stuff.
They're great resources.
You can find them all over at djamgalefleck.com. We'll make sure the links are in the show notes for you. Okay, so the metaverse, this whole landscape of virtual augmented reality, where does AI first sort of make its presence felt ethically?
Well, I think the most fundamental place to start is data surveillance and privacy. These metaverse experiences, especially using XR, extended reality like VR and AR, they are basically data factories.
Data factories.
Yeah.
Okay, how so?
Well, think about it. Unlike just clicking on a web page, XR captures your body movements, where your eyes are looking, facial expressions, maybe even biometric like heart rate, plus your physical surroundings if you're using AR. It's incredibly rich personal data.
Right, much more intimate than just web browsing history.
Exactly. And AI systems learn from this data to personalize your experience, but that opens the door to, well, potential unauthorized surveillance, data breaches, misuse of very sensitive info.
And are people generally aware of this? Like, how much is being collected?
Often not really. Research points to a lack of user awareness and control. We saw one case study, Sansar, I think it was, where users genuinely didn't grasp the extent of data collection happening just to personalize things for them.
So that brings us straight back to consent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But how do you get informed consent in an environment that's meant to feel immersive and seamless?
That's the challenge. Clicking agree on lengthy terms of service might not cut it when the data collection involves your literal movements and gaze. There's a real need for privacy by design, building privacy in from the start.
Okay, privacy by design.
Yeah.
And more transparency.
Absolutely. Explicit user consent, transparency in how data is handled, robust data protection, and really user-friendly controls. Things like easy opt-outs, clear ways to delete data.
Because the worry is it could become a sort of digital panopticon otherwise.
There's the fear, yeah. Especially with regulations like GDPR in mind, we need strong safeguards, or we risk violating user privacy on a massive scale.
Okay, so massive data collection is one thing. What about the AI algorithms themselves? You mentioned personalization, moderation. Can they introduce their own problem?
Oh, definitely. Algorithmic bias is a huge concern. AI in the metaverse can inherit and sometimes even amplify real-world biases.
How might that show up?
Well, consider AI vision systems used for creating avatars. If they're trained on biased data, like the Bulamwini and Gebru study famously showed with facial recognition, they might struggle to accurately render avatars for, say, women or people of color, or misinterpret their expressions.
Right, so your virtual representation might not even be accurate because of bias in the AI.
Exactly. Or think about AI moderation. An AI trained on certain data sets might disproportionately flag slang used by specific ethnic groups as harmful, while missing actual hate speech from others.
That's a subtle but really damaging form of bias.
It is. And recommendation systems, too. They can easily create echo chambers, reinforcing existing viewpoints and limiting exposure to diverse content, just like on the web now, but potentially more intensely in an immersive space.
So what's the fix? Better data, audits.
All of the above. We need diverse training data, continuous bias testing, regular audits, transparency reports about how these systems are performing. Some platforms, like Roblox, use human oversight alongside AI moderation. It's a kind of hybrid approach.
A human check on the AI.
Right, to build fairness and trust. And we're seeing industry guidelines and regulations converging on these principles. Fairness, accountability, transparency in AI. It's becoming standard practice, or at least the expected standard.
Okay, let's circle back to consent for a moment. You mentioned lengthy terms of service.
Yeah.
How can consent be made more meaningful in VR or AR?
It's complex because the lines between, play and reality can blur. Users might unknowingly agree to extensive AI tracking just by accepting those initial terms.
So need new ways to handle it.
Yeah, definitely. Novel solutions integrated right into the user experience. Maybe things like clear in-VR pop-up notices when certain data streams are active, or dedicated control panels within the virtual environment.
Like your voice is being recorded now for something specific.
Something like that. Meta's Horizon Worlds actually had some initial issues with transparency around voice recording, but they later added clearer privacy guides and features, like a safe zone where interactions aren't recorded.
So giving users more granular control is key.
Absolutely. Control over how their data is used, maybe opting out of certain personalization features, understanding why something was recommended. Consent shouldn't be a one-time click. It needs to be ongoing, understandable, and revocable.
Right. Another area. Identity. How does AI complicate knowing who's who in the metaverse?
Well, AI enables incredibly realistic virtual agents, bots with human-like avatars, and then you have deepfakes, AI that can mimic someone's appearance and voice almost perfectly.
So you might not know if you're talking to a real person or an AI.
Precisely. That blurs the lines significantly. You could have imposter avatars, AI bots designed to deceive or manipulate users, maybe for data mining or worse.
That sounds like a recipe for identity theft on a whole new level.
It could be, if avatar and voice security aren't prioritized. That's why there's talk about verification technologies, things like biometric checks or maybe blockchain-based identity tokens to prove you are who you say you are.
Any other ideas? Like visually flagging the AIs.
Yeah, that's been proposed. The World Economic Forum suggested visually labeling AI-controlled avatars, maybe with a colored outline or a specific icon, just so it's clear.
And regulations are catching up.
Seems like it. The EU's draft AI rules, for instance, include mandates for disclosure when you're interacting with an AI, and that would likely extend to virtual worlds.
But what about anonymity? People like having pseudonyms online.
Right, it's a delicate balance. You want authenticity, especially for things like financial transactions, but also space for anonymity and creative expression. Maybe verified identity for certain activities, pseudonymity for others. It's something platforms need to navigate carefully.
Okay, this leads into another concern. Manipulation and just psychological safety. These environments feel real, right?
They do. And that means the metaverse has an unparalleled ability to influence users psychologically. AI content algorithms optimizing for engagement could use subtle cues or curate experiences in ways that subtly manipulate behavior.
More effectively than on a 2D screen.
Potentially, yes, because it's more immersive and maybe less noticeable. Think about dark patterns, those manipulative design tricks. In XR, that could mean eye-tracked ads you can't avoid, or VR reward systems designed to foster addictive behavior.
Are there real-world examples of this blurring lines already?
Well, there was that Walmart advert game on Roblox targeting kids. It was essentially an undisclosed marketing playground, and it raised concerns about blurring advertising and gameplay, especially for younger users.
And AI could make this even more subtle, like subliminal techniques.
That's a theoretical concern, yes. The EU AI Act actually includes bans on AI systems that use subliminal techniques or exploit vulnerabilities in harmful ways.
And what about safety from other users? Harassment seems like it could feel much worse in VR.
Reports suggest it does. That sense of personal space violation feels more intense in VR. But AI could potentially help here too, proactively detecting abusive behavior, maybe based on spatial proximity, aggressive motions, voice tone, and intervening.
Like Meta's personal boundary feature in Horizon Worlds.
Exactly. That was a design fix to create personal space.
Yeah.
The core ethical mandate has to be against exploiting user psychology or vulnerabilities, no manipulative nudging, no addictive loops, honesty about AI-driven interactions to maintain user agency, a kind of duty of care.
Duty of care. I like that. So with AI making decisions about content, safety, experiences,
Yeah.
who's actually governing these spaces? Who's accountable?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Right now, it's often the platform companies themselves setting the rules, corporate governance.
Yeah.
But we're also seeing decentralized models emerge, like Decentraland's DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization.
A DAO, so the users govern.
In theory, yes. Token holders vote on proposals. It aims for more community power. But even those models have challenges, issues of representation, potential for wealthy token holders, the whales, to have disproportionate influence, low voter turnout sometimes.
So neither model is perfect ethically.
Not necessarily. Centralized platforms need transparency and clear accountability for their AI's actions, redress mechanisms, human review options, explanations. Decentralized systems need checks and balances too, ways to ensure diverse participation and transparent decision-making, especially if AI itself gets involved in governance tasks.
It sounds like transparency and accountability are needed everywhere.
Absolutely. Things like public decision logs, open sourcing code where possible, maybe independent ethics boards, and clear channels for users to dispute AI decisions or report problems. We're seeing platforms start to publish transparency reports on AI moderation, which is a step.
Okay, so bringing this together, if we want to build trust in these AI-powered worlds, what are the key pillars developers and platforms need to focus on?
I'd say a few core principles. First, transparency by design. Make it evident when AI is operating and, ideally, why it's doing what it's doing. Explainable AI outcomes build trust.
Like explaining why content was recommended or why a moderation action happened.
Exactly. Maybe even visual explainers in VR. Second, fairness and inclusivity checks. Constant work to mitigate bias, diverse data, regular audits, testing with diverse users, maybe even involving diverse ethics review teams.
And being open about those audits.
Ideally, yes. Third-party evaluations can help too. Third is data minimization and privacy safeguards. That privacy by design principle again. Collect only what's necessary, secure it robustly, maybe process sensitive data on the device itself, anonymize it, and clear consent flows, visible controls like recording icons.
Makes sense. What else?
Fourth, user agency and control. Maximize user control over their experience. Safety tools, content preferences, letting users opt out of some personalization, giving feedback on AI suggestions.
Giving power back to the user.
Right. And finally, accountability and governance structures. Clear lines of responsibility, easy ways for users to seek redress if AI causes harm, ethics officers, transparent policies, clear communication, and importantly, being ready to correct AI errors. Aligning with emerging standards like those from IE or OMMA3 and regulations like the EU AI Act is also crucial.
Are there any platforms or examples that are maybe getting parts of this right, or at least showing innovation?
Well, we mentioned Roblox using AI with human review for child safety, aiming to enforce real-world rules. That hybrid approach is interesting.
Okay.
Horizon Worlds, despite early issues, responded to harassment with policy updates, reporting tools, and that personal boundary feature. They're also researching things like AI voice moderation, hopefully with privacy in mind.
And Decentraland, the DAO.
It's a fascinating democratic experiment. Transparency via the blockchain is a plus, but they face those governance challenges we discussed, voter turnout, influence of large token holders.
Yeah.
They also use a mix of AI moderation and community oversight.
What about negative examples? Lessons learned.
That Walmart Roblox advert game serves as a cautionary tale about needing transparency and intent, especially with kids. You need to be clear about what's an ad and what's gameplay, especially if AI is curating that experience.
But AI isn't all bad, right?
Yeah.
Are there positive uses emerging?
Oh, absolutely. Think about accessibility. AI could provide real-time sign language translation or describe scenes for visually impaired users. AI therapy avatars are being explored for mental health support, though that comes with its own set of ethical considerations, of course. The Open Metaverse Alliance, OMA3, is really focusing on building a user-centric metaverse, which is promising.
So if you had to boil it down, what are the key recommendations for anyone building or shaping the metaverse ethically?
Okay, let's summarize. 1, adopt privacy and consent by design from the very start. 2, ensure fair and inclusive algorithms through constant effort. 3, build in explainability and user awareness, make AI visible and understandable.
Got it.
4, use hybrid moderation where needed, combining AI with human judgment, and provide robust user safety tools. 5, genuinely engage users in governance, especially in decentralized platforms. And 6, stay aligned with evolving standards and laws. This field is moving fast.
It really drives home that ethics can't be an add-on here. With AI so central, it has to be foundational.
Exactly. Trust and transparency aren't just nice ideas, they're arguably essential for user engagement and the long-term viability of these virtual worlds.
And it's an ongoing conversation, right?
Yeah.
AI keeps evolving, the metaverse keeps evolving, so new ethical dilemmas will keep popping up.
No doubt. But those core principles, transparency, fairness, accountability, privacy, user empowerment, they remain vital guideposts as we navigate what's next.
The potential is there for the metaverse to be a really human-centric space, but only if we prioritize these ethical considerations right now.
Well said.
All right, let's leave our listeners with a final thought to chew on. As these AI systems become more and more embedded, almost invisible, in our immersive experiences, how do we maintain that crucial balance? The balance between the magic of seamless immersion and the need for clarity and control of the systems shaping our reality. Where does helpfulness tip over into opaque control? Something to think about.
Hmm. Good question.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. And one last reminder, if you want to boost your AI skills or get certified, check out Etienne Newman's study guides. As your AI engineer associate, Google Cloud Generative AI leader, and AWS certified AI practitioner, they're all at djamgatech.com, and yep, links are in the show notes.